success stories told by the people who lived them.
We're going to have some guests on this show that everybody knows, and we're going to have guests on this show that nobody knows yet.
One by one, Nick Hyder is adding hits to the hit streak.
Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hit Streak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. And folks, he's joining me all the way from Houston, Texas today. And check it out. I got a great episode for you. We got lots to talk about. Folks, he's the founder and CEO of Program 15. He's the president of baseball operations for the New Balance Future Stars. He's a best-selling author, and he's a baseball analyst for CBS Houston. Folks, welcome my dude, Jeremy Booth. Jeremy, how we hanging today, baby?
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I don't know if I could do that better myself, man. Just like reading my bio off the back of the jacket. That was awesome. It was pretty good. Good to see you. Been a long time, and I could not be happier to be here. And honestly, man, just connecting with you again after all these years been pretty good. And being able to talk to everybody around there, I'm excited to get rolling.
That's right, man. First hit of the day right there. And folks, just a fun little side note. When I was coming up through the ranks as an old ball player, Jeremy and I crossed paths a couple times in the professional ranks, right? So I was always just trying to compete at his level, if I could say that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. I remembered you. Stuck out pretty good. You did just fine.
Well, dude, right now it is baseball season, thank goodness, and you are on the tube pretty much every single night for CBS Houston as a baseball analyst, right? So, like, dude, what's that like? What's that life like? What's that? That's a great job, dude. That's a great gig, man. Congratulations.
You know what? Thank you. You know what, Nick? There's a movie out there we've all seen. I don't know who's seen it. Bull Durham. Everybody knows that. It's a baseball cult movie. Crash Davis says to his manager, he says, "What do I get to do? You get to go to the ballpark every day and keep getting paid to do it." Right. That's right. Kind of the way that I look at being an analyst is I get to go to big league stadiums. I get to go to the All-Star game. I get to go to the World Series. I get to do this stuff and talk about the game that has given so much and that we love, it so intensely. Right. So, I mean, man, I get to go to the ballpark and I get to talk about this and break down Framber Valdez. And I get to talk about why, Verlander's not back yet. And I get to talk about what the lineup should be. And I get to go on TV and get paid to say what I want to say. Like that to me, if you talk about the definition of not working out, like that's the opposite, right? I mean, I just get to go be me and I'm blessed to be able to have that opportunity. Very thankful to the people at KHOU CBS Houston, Jason Bristol, almost got 40-something Emmys, man. Like he's got like an Emmy named after him. I think he's got so many of them.
Wow.
It's how good he's at it. So very fortunate to be working with some good people and thankful to have that opportunity.
Dude, I tell you what, man. Well, that is it's a fantastic gig, and you're right. You get, baseball's the greatest game in the world. I never get tired of watching baseball, ever. And you get to watch it every day at the highest level on earth.
You walk into that ballpark and knowing that that's your job, knowing that what you get to do every day and with no restrictions, no restrictions. I get to watch BP, and I got the scouting background, right? That's what I did before this and the plans. So, for me, I watch a little bit differently, just like when you go in and you're breaking it down, where's this execution and where's the release point? What's that guy going to be later? And be able to take that and translate that on television and give that to the people that are watching, especially having been so blessed in a market like Houston with as good as the Astros have been now for such a significant run, right? Love them or hate them, they've been a pretty good team.
That's right.
And so the ability to go to the postseason, having the ability to go see the affiliates and break it down from that perspective has been a gift.
No doubt. Well, it's, I think, so I'm having a little bit of fun here. I remember how, the difference between high school to college was extreme. But the difference from college, at least the college baseball that I played, to the professional level, the gap was far greater of an extreme. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's one of the hardest things to get people to understand is how great the game is played. And you get the guys that argue in the 80s it was played this way and it was a better game and so on and so forth. Well, I'm always questioning those guys and saying guys, this is the highest level on earth with unlimited resources, right? You don't trust that they're making all the right decisions in the way that they've changed the game, so to speak. I'm not talking about the rules and the bigger bases and so on and so forth, or the collision rules. I'm talking about swing analytics and metrics and spin rates and all those type things. It's the technology is unbelievable in the game today.
It's a lot different. I mean, I was fortunate that some of this stuff was given to me early, the blast sensors and things like that. Mm-hmm. We use it to break down players. It's just a different way of looking at players, man. I mean, if we're talking about getting into the bullpen, right? I mean, how often we're all told that coming up, getting into that bullpen past that starting pitcher. It's not any different now. It's just different ways of getting there, right? Different ways of looking at it. So the game's still the game. I think the technology revolution has been about trying to find deeper insights, different ways to quantify, like an investment in the stock market or anything else you're doing. How can I quantify where I'm putting my money? How can I make better risk assessments, right? If you look at it in that lens, it's pretty easy to follow. I think there's a lot of resistance at times for new schools of thought. Because baseball's so emotional, man. I mean, What else can you do in this world where everybody's got an opinion?
That's right.
If you look at golf, I got no idea. None. Like if you look at football, I'm not going to say anything to Belichick. What am I going to tell Belichick?
Right.
But when it comes to baseball, everybody's got an opinion. And it's you see it on social media. You listen to it in the grocery store. Someone's talking baseball somewhere and they all think they're right.
That's right.
And the reality is none of us are right.
That's right.
Because that's the way it works. So it's a very interesting time to navigate it for sure. Things like TrackMan and Synergy Video and some of these cool things that MLB does to be able to tie that back to the game as a whole it helps everything you're doing, but more importantly, it changes it for the future.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Well, so I want to tell everybody kind of how we cross paths again, right? So tell everybody about what you were doing here in Nashville at the Old Timers Baseball Complex at Shelby Park with Pop. What were y'all doing out there last summer? And I think you got some more stuff going on this year, maybe?
Yeah, it's baseball, a small world. No different than how, I did find myself with your dad last summer and he mentions you to me and I'm like, hey man, I remember that guy, right? I mean, that's just a small baseball circle. Some years ago in 2008, I was an area scout for the Minnesota Twins in that territory. I had Tennessee, I had Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky, which if you're in that pocket, that's a pretty interesting area, right? Let's just face it. I mean, Ohio's Ohio and West Virginia, much loved anybody lives in West Virginia, but y'all know it's a different state.
That's no doubt.
Yeah, a little different. And I was living in Florence, Kentucky. And so I spent a lot of time in Nashville. Well, Brian Ryman, who we know well, was just starting, I believe, his run at Lipscomb with Coach. And so his dad, Keith, God rest him, took me under his wing in the area.
That's right.
And taught me the state. He taught me what to do around there, took care of me, really, really extended a hand to somebody who grew up in Southern California and who had moved to the area from Boston. You can imagine the culture shock a little bit for me being engrossed in Florence, Kentucky, right? What was happening there. So he made me very comfortable. And Brian and I developed a relationship. Over time, we've developed a player development and evaluation series executed by professionals that has yielded quite a substantial amount of results now for organizations and players and help them get where they're going and try to streamline some of this craziness in the youth baseball industry that we see today.
Right.
In any whatever way we can be a part of the solution. And we moved our national tournaments and our national selection process. And that is what gets us to the big stadiums, the Minute Maid Parks and the Fenway Parks. And we'll dive into that a little bit as we go. But Brian brought us to Shelby. And we partnered with Music City Classic. And as we're at Shelby, we partnered with your dad. Your dad opened his doors to us and found our way in and saw a couple thousand players run through his fields at Shelby, those which are historic, and he does a great job with them. And he treated us like family as well. Opened the doors and saw a couple thousand really talented kids come through there, a couple of first round picks, and some guys that'll go on to school, and a pretty good mix. And it was nice to reconnect with them. We were fortunate to have that happen, and of course that's how we found our way back to you and me.
That's right.
Those years.
That's right. Well, I know Dad was extremely impressed with the operation, with everything you guys were doing. Dude, Dad's crazy. He's 74 years old. Can you believe that? He turned 75 this year, I believe.
no idea you could I would never believe that until you told me. No chance.
Dude, he's still bench presses like what they do at the NFL Combine. It's unbelievable.
I saw the weight room, and I was like, man, you should have told me this was here. I get down here and bang with you. It's like, oh, that's where I come and lift and get my stress out. Okay.
That's right. Well, and that's like royalty or a weight room for royalty compared to what we worked at when I was growing up. He made sure that he was like, boy, it ain't going to be, you don't get to play in air conditioning in baseball, or, it's going to be hot. It's going to be cold. He said, train in the elements you play in.
I can get it.
It was old school, dude. Well, all right. So talk to me about you're the president of baseball operations for the New Balance Future Stars series, right? Which that's what we're talking about that you guys are doing over at Shelby, right?
That's correct. So some years ago as well, man, time goes by quick. 2015, I'm with the Seattle Mariners. I'm cross-checking with the supervisor. And I'm living in Houston, Texas. I technically have the West Coast, but I was doing things like big league advance. I was doing stuff like international. I was doing more national stuff. I was seeing our affiliates. But the thing I did the least was the West Coast, living in Houston, Texas. And matter of fact, cool story for a second. If you've seen Derek Jeter's biography, The Captain, if you go to the scene at Fenway Park where he rolls his ankle, if you stop it on that swing and look up behind home plate, I'm sitting there about 4 rows deep.
Really?
Yeah, it was great because I remember watching that game when I didn't realize that was in the show or that what game it was. Till I saw the show, I'm like, wait a minute, I was there.
That's right.
I was calling the Yankees. I remember what happened. So, I had a very fun, very electric, very blessed run as a scout. But it was time. It was just time to do something different. And what I saw that was happening in baseball was a disconnect between player development and scouting. And I've been so, I guess, player focused, having had to fight, much like you, to get where you're trying to go in a career, that I didn't think that was something that was right. And I wanted to make sure that I found a way to do something that had some impact because I didn't feel like it was really happening in Seattle. I stepped out. I decided I wasn't going to go back for the role that I was in. The Mariners wanted me to stay in that role. And so we parted ways. It was just, it was one of those things. And had some other opportunities come up. Nothing seemed to come through that was going to make sense. And in that time, I started to work with some pro players in the Houston area. Got nothing, just guys that wanted to get better that had some questions. Yeah, tell me what you think. Let's find a way to funnel this. Knowing nothing, by the way, about Driveline or any of the other things that were out there at the time. Just trying to do that. And that was put into me years ago by growing up in Major League Baseball, which is something a lot of people don't know about me, Nick, was that I grew up in Major League clubhouses. Around Ricky Henderson, Dave Stewart, Darryl Strawberry, Eric Davis. The monsters of the game at the time. And most of those guys worked out at something called the program. And this is inner city LA. There's a documentary called Harvard Park that you can get on Amazon. Inner city Los Angeles, something called the program. And these pro guys coming together reminded me of that. And so I called it Program 15 because 15 was my jersey number, right? So I wanted to pay homage to the guys that had raised me, and I put my number on it so it would be different.
That's right.
While we're working out with these pro guys, I get some high school guys coming around saying, hey, how come you won't do any lessons? And I said, because I don't like lessons. They don't do anything for you. Not for me, right? It's an hour here and I see you in a week. Like, there's got to be something more consistent. I'd rather just give you some pointers, watch a few swings, let you go work on it, come back and check on you. You don't have to pay me for that.
Right.
That's just coaching, right? No, we want you to do some lessons. All right, well, I'm looking for a gig. Trying to figure this out over here. I'll do a little bit, right? So I do some lessons. I get back in the cage, and real quick, man, it's turned into 40 hours.
Okay.
In the cage. I'm not happy in the cage for 40 hours. I'm like you. I'm a free bird, bro. I can't be up in a tunnel. So I'm trying to get out and do stuff. So I said, look, let's add a camp component to this. Let's add some defense and some agilities and some strength. Let's make it a complete development program. Let's see how this goes. And that grew into about 40 pro guys and about 60 to 70 high school guys in about 2 months.
That's incredible.
It was overwhelming, actually. And so I brought in some other pro guys that I knew that were ex-players to help with it, and some guys live in the Houston area to help with it. And we started off with a very talented staff, maybe guys at different phases of their life, just trying to help out and do some stuff. And the late Bob Watson came on to me as kind of an advisor to help me become an executive, or a better executive in ways that he thought this was ultimately going to expand.
Bob was incredible. I met Bob.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. Lived here in Houston. We talked all the time. He gave far more to me than I can ever repay him.
Yeah.
And taught me so much about having to make tough decisions, which weren't very fun, man. Because you don't want to have to do that with people.
That's
what I mean?
That's
Sometimes you got to make tough decisions. So I was very fortunate with that. Well, anyway, this entity, whatever this was, turned into something that looked like there were other people in the game that liked it and needed it. And so we tested it. Well, as we go forward and we track forward to where we were, New Balance decides they want to go ahead and get involved. And they want something that's grassroots, and they want something that's going to connect to kids. And they don't want some of the stuff that's out there today that has taken over the industry. They want something that's going to impact.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it's right up my alley. And keep in mind, this is in 2015. This is 2024. We're still going with another extension behind it. So New Balance has been excellent to us in this whole process as well. We decided to design events. And they said, how can we design events that can lead this player development? How can we go out and teach kids? How can we go out and give them proper evals? How can we do all this stuff and move forward? And I had put this thing together in my head. I said, man, we got to get a name, because Program 15 is just what's behind it. We got to come up with a name.
Mm-hmm.
So about June of 2016, I come up with this name because nobody's using it. It's nowhere. I mean, I'm doing Google searches. I'm searching websites. I'm doing trademark. No one's using. I'm nothing. Future Star Series. And I said to New Balance, and I said to my one of my agents, say, hey, what do you guys think? You guys like that? Like, yeah, that's great. Let's go. So New Balance Baseball Future Star Series.
Wow.
They're the title sponsor, Future Star Series.
Yep.
Benji Gill was working for us at the time.
Out. Yeah.
Roberto Kelly.
Wow.
5-time, working for us at the time. Trinidad Hubbard was working for us at the time. We had Dorian Jackson, who's Alex Jackson's dad at the time, doing mental skills.
Yeah.
We had everything lined up. Now, look, if I told you I knew what I was doing then, I mean, I had an idea of what I wanted to go, but the evolution of that was just so crazy.
Absolutely.
And we started out with a couple of people, a scout who I worked with Seattle, who is no longer there, who was one of the best evaluators I've ever been around to write reports along with me, mostly him, so I could try to build this thing. And then it turned into what you see today. And what you see today is hundreds of thousands of players impacted over the last 7 years. This is year 8.
Boom.
You guys arriving in the big leagues. You see a focus on undiscovered talent that has shown up now and made some money. You see them coming back and paying it forward, which we require to give that back to families. You see a fundraising foundational component, such as rebuilding houses in hurricanes and helping kids eat and child cancer and even back to themselves to ease their own burden, right?
That's right.
Travel. Because I don't want to be that guy who looks at a kid and says, you got to pay me $1,000 for me to help you. Inherently, I can't do that. Because I was that guy at one point that wanted that help, and so were you. And if we're those guys, we know what it's like to be in that position. You can't look at somebody and say, man, you got to give me all this extra money, and I'm just going to give you the topical stuff. No, so we get invested, and we do what we can at a minimum. We try to impact, and we've got some support. We've got support from Major League Baseball. We've had some very good relationships with the Players Association. We've got some support from 28 different clubs on our advisory board. Never been done before. We now have a college series that is junior colleges and 4 big league stadiums. And we're very fortunate that we've been able to find pathways to help players and impact the game. And Nick, I'll tell you this, I didn't do this. People look at me, it's funny. Somebody looked at me and said, you're making a lot of money.
Good.
Well,
good.
Right. Capitalism is not bad. Last I checked. But what I want to say is this: I'm not driven by that. I'm driven by the impact. Never in one time have I asked what's in it for me. You know what I'm happy with? I'm happy with my house. I'm happy with if my family's healthy. I'm happy with if my friends are good. I'm happy with these kids getting better and getting where they're going. I'm happy that my bills are paid. I'm happy I got food in the fridge. I'm happy when I get to hang out with my dogs.
Yeah.
if I get to do those things and talk baseball, the money it is what it is. It's going to show up and be there.
Well,
the idea has got to impact people. And that's what this series is about.
I want to thank all of our loyal fans that spread across all 50 states and 14 different countries. It's absolutely amazing. Folks, help us keep spreading the word, right? Share your favorite episodes with friends and make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the Hitstreak on all digital platforms. Thanks again, and we look forward to more.
Well, there's so much to unpack right there. I was writing the whole time you were talking. All right. So we're going to stay right there for a minute. So first of all, dude, money's a tool. The more money you have, the more people you can help. The more resources you can provide. Like, it takes money to do that. Churches need money. Like, that's a thing, dude. My pastor told me that, isn't it? Nick, everybody can give their time. Not everybody can give their money. You know what I mean? So, and that money makes a direct impact. If money's just a tool. And I think that if you're a good person, money makes you a better person. If you're a bad person, money makes you a worse person. It's just going to expose who you are.
It's true. That's a very good point. You know, I think I say that because I believe that money can follow the idea. Okay. And I believe if you make it honestly, like the pastors say, you know, you want to pour it into good people. You want to go ahead and create opportunity.
That's right.
We tried to do that here. It's more about, and I think people look at this industry and they think you're driven by that, and you're not. If you're a true baseball person and you understand how hard this is and you got some kind of character, man, you're just in it to help the game.
No doubt.
You can make a living at it, great.
No doubt.
Yeah, I get more fun. You know, when I say pay me, I'll tell you when I say pay me. When I show up to Minute Maid Park and I talk about the Astros, now you can pay me.
That's right.
Then you can do that. Okay. When we're talking about what's going on here with these kids, whatever I can do to help these kids is where we are. And it takes a village, right? It takes a village of people believing in that to impact it. So I say that because I'm just so proud of this team and what they've done to help get there.
Absolutely.
And what they've done for these kids.
Well, man, you know, like, the only people that really I've seen that villainize money, they just don't have it. You know, like, but again, money, like, how many people wouldn't utilize the resources you provide if they didn't understand the value? And one of the easiest ways for people to understand the value is the price tag associated with the product or good or service that they're exchanging for, right? So, dude, like, nice things are a good thing, man. You know, businesses that are thriving and successful, those are a good thing. Let's go.
Yeah, as long as we can use it to help other people, like you said, I'm happy. And I think that's the point we try to make, is that I'm very thankful to the group that got here. I was fortunate enough to have an idea, and we got a bunch of good people that have poured into it to make it reality. And as long as we can help these players and move this game forward, we can make some societal impact and helping these become good young men as well, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the point. That's the point of all we do.
Absolutely. All right. So more to unpack from all that stuff. So first of all, you know, you mentioned, you know, I believe it was basically just transparency with communication, being honest with these guys, being able to give them the truth, and you know, even when it's uncomfortable to make those decisions and share that input. You know, we talk about that all the time. I'd rather be a good guy than a nice guy all day long, because a good guy is going to tell you the truth even when it's hard, and a nice guy is going to lie to you because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
100% agree and co-sign. Absolutely. Not a nice guy, but a good guy, no doubt.
That's right. I think you find a lot of good guys in baseball. I think that's one of the greatest things about the community of baseball, is there's a whole lot of authentic, good dudes in there.
I don't disagree with that. I think that we've all found the ones that aren't, and they eliminate themselves pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And they get pulled together are the ones that end up maintaining those relationships and making that impact.
Check this out. I heard I've got to remember who said this. I heard a young lady say something that really impacted me in a recent keynote, and I've got to figure out exactly who that was that said it. I've seen so many of them these days, it's running together, but I've quoted her multiple times. I ain't giving her credit. I got to do that. But check this out. She said her mission is she wants to explain to people that they're going to activate their impact. She wants to explain to them how to do that, right? And she defined, well, what is an impact? How do you make an impact? It's when you live out your God-given gifts in the marketplace. That's when you make an impact. The key part is the marketplace. That's where money's traded.
That's true. That's a good point. I think that's I got to process that one. That's pretty well said.
I thought
that's
so.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, and the marketplace aspect, you know, yeah. I mean, that just goes back to even biblical times, right? When
That's right.
The things we've seen where we're trading. That's how money was created. We're trading money for service and money for goods. Yeah, man, you're right.
That's exactly right, dude. Here's another thing. There's Rory Vaden says you are most powerfully positioned to help and serve the person that you used to be, and you are literally living out that mission every single day.
Man, I didn't know you were going to drop this on me today. Man, I'm sitting over here. I'm sitting over here just taking it in, man. That's outstanding. You got to send me that when we get done. You got to send me that quote so I can make sure that's taken care of. That's pretty good. Thank you.
I will.
You know what? That's true because like I said, I can't help Bill Belichick. I can't help the coaches in the NFL. I can't do that, but I can certainly help ex or former players be better at what they do and help current players be better at what they do and learn from them in the same time. Absolutely.
So, Jeremy, I didn't understand how much of a business baseball was. I've said this multiple times, and I don't even think I truly realized this about myself as an athlete and as a player until just the last couple of years. So, my goal growing up as a kid was always to play professional baseball, and I did that. But what I really wanted to do was be a catcher for the New York Yankees. Okay? I didn't have the right goal set, right? I didn't actually identify the right target. My goal was to play professional baseball, which I did. And when I was done doing that, I stepped out and I retired. I finished my playing career. But when I look back at it, I'm like, man, I just didn't make the right goal. What if my goal had been to catch the New York Yankees? Where might I have ended up?
Sure. I think that goes back to the honesty, though, the part that we're talking about, right? It's for how you help people with goal setting. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in shooting below the ultimate dream because I think as long as you shoot for your ultimate level, right, your ultimate goals, and you take the pathway to get there, if it doesn't work out, you can look yourself in the mirror and go, well, I did everything I could to get there, just wasn't for me. And there's a piece that comes from that. I think that, a role that we try to play is some of that self-assessment that we've all had to go through, right? What is it time to do this? Where am I lacking? Where can I be good? What am I good at? I feel like the scouting reports we write are very honest. And I mean honest, right? And some people say, well, you can't run a business that way. And I said, well, yeah, you can.
Oh,
yeah, you can.
Let's go.
You got to use it to help them be direct and help them understand where they are and be the best person and player they can be. But goal setting and realization of those goal settings and the steps it takes to get there are so important. And then you never know what's going to happen after that.
That's right.
And I think you can accept, I know I can accept where my life is today because everything that I ever did decision-wise led me to this moment in time right now. And that includes sitting with you on the Hitstreak.
That's right. I think that when I look back at everything, again, if I had a better or more clear target, if I'd understood, because life's an offensive sport. You don't get the girl that you don't ask out. You don't get the deal that you don't ask for. You don't close anything that you don't ask for. And I was just happy to be there. If I'm being honest, dude, it was a time of my life. It was great. I loved every second of it, but I never asked to go certain places. So, maybe if I had who knows what would have happened? Maybe somebody else asked and I didn't. They're like, well, he must want it more. There's so many assumptions that were probably made about me that I could have done such a better job of understanding, dude, I believed I should have played more when I was there. I believed that I should have been in front of certain guys. You know what I mean? And but I didn't say anything. I just kind of just took it for what it was.
When you reflect, I know when I reflect, on what probably definitely is the hardest thing to do is play professional baseball. And it's nothing against any other athlete because I know somebody's going to whack me on the shoulders.
That's right.
Basketball. No, if you take a baseball player and you put him in any other sport, and I do mean any other sport, he's going to be able to look like he can belong.
That's right.
If you take a basketball player and a track athlete and put him in baseball, they lost.
They can't even throw out the first pitch of a game.
So, when you go back and you think about standing for yourself a little bit and speaking up in different ways that you could have to achieve those goals and to set the right goals and move ahead, I think there's all things we would do different.
Absolutely.
There's things you would say at different times. And then there's times that you probably spoke that maybe you shouldn't have.
This morning.
Sometimes I look back on Nick and I think about, man, what if I hadn't said that?
Yeah.
And then what I learned? I learned along the way that the only way that I was going to be able to get anywhere was be authentically myself, and I wasn't going to apologize for it. Right?
That is, that's the most powerful thing you're going to say today. That's the most powerful thing right there. Go ahead and finish. I'll let you finish. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I was say unapologetically you. And
that's right.
Whatever that is, that's the best way you can impact the planet. Is by being the best version of you.
Amen. There's only one of you. God put you here for a reason. You know what I mean? And again, when you live out your God-given abilities, your uniqueness in the marketplace, that's when you truly make an impact on this world.
That's funny, man. I think we overlook that as a general inherent component of humanity.
I agree.
We are completely different, all of us. There's similarities that bind us together. There's some beliefs, there's some direction, there's some honesty, some ethics. Those are personality traits.
That's right.
Right? And there's some human things that we do biologically and that we were created. That, I tell kids all the time, your body works this way. If you don't like it, go talk to God. I wasn't at the staff meetings. There's nothing I can do about it.
That's
right.
You know
what I mean? He made those decisions for you.
That's right.
When it comes to faith, and it comes to direction, and it comes to how you can best be a minister of those things. To be yourself, and you have to be connected, and you have to accept the differences and other people's strengths. I try to surround myself with people that are better than me in other areas, and certainly different. I want to know what they think, when they think it. I want to learn from them the best I can, because I already know what I know. I don't need somebody else telling me what I know. I want somebody telling me the truth and helping me become better, because I can be better for them.
Absolutely. So again, I had so many notes from when you were just talking about coming up in the development of the Baseball Future Star Series with New Balance. So first of all, there are, I think, 99 out of 100 baseball players, when they finish at the college level and above, immediately try to go into the workforce in the baseball industry. All right. Very few of them, me included at the time, actually can figure out how to make a living doing it. And you have figured that out. As a matter of fact, I would say that if you wanted to, if you had nothing else better to do, you could just travel around the country teaching baseball guys how to actually build an organization or a business that's profitable, that provides the impact in the community that it needs to provide, and feeds everybody that's working there. So it's no longer a hobby that takes away from their families, their wives, and their kids, because most of them are working a day job and then doing their baseball stuff at night. And the baseball just doesn't make enough money. So I wrote down a couple of things. So first of all, you mentioned what you were just talking about, surrounding yourself with people that are better than you at whatever it is that you brought them on to do. We talk about proximity here all the time. It's one of the most important things. Dude, if you're in the room with the right people, you grow. You know what I mean? And I would say you've done an unbelievable job of making sure, dude, you're literally at a major league stadium every night at the highest level. So you have mastered proximity, and it's absolutely benefited your business.
Absolutely. It's benefiting this here. Part of the ability to talk about Major League Baseball and connect to those kids that they can see, or connect to the players that are coming up can have connective tissue to what's next, right? Follow those type of dreams and goals and see that things can be a reality. The best parts about our game is that it is narrow. You can't buy your way into it. You can't apply your way into it. You have to be kind of chosen for this thing, right? Whatever your piece of it is. But there are spaces for people to do a broad array of things, whether it's analytics, whether it's talk about it, whether it's play, which, by the way, I don't know if you knew this as far as the play point, little stat for you. Baseball's been around, about 160 years or so?
Yes,
maybe.
That's right. Okay.
In that time, there's been 20,000 major league players, give or take. That's like nothing. Okay. Almost 750,000 approximately professionals of all time. Also, same time, man, there's been 13 plus billion people on the planet.
Yep.
That's an incredible percentage of people have actually been paid to play at any level. Okay. It's an absolute anomaly to do that. But at the same time, you got billions of kids playing across the planet.
That's right.
And we have a duty to the rest of those billions and the rest of those people to do that. So I look at being able to talk about Major League Baseball and to be able to build this business and company in ways that can impact those kids to go be good ambassadors. Whatever that avenue is, man. If it's playing, there's going to be some guys that are pitching going to pitch tonight in the big leagues, and there's going to be some guys that will be in college and they'll be performing. But the rest of the kids, the ones that are going to go out into the communities and be good citizens and husbands and brothers and sons, the type of people that put a shopping cart back in the parking lot.
That's right.
The type of people that pick up some trash when they see it. The type of people that say yes sir and no ma'am and open doors. The type of people that honor God. That's who's a greater impact across our society.
That's
and
right.
Baseball vehicle, I'm here every day.
That's right.
The Hitstreak is powered by our partners at HitLab Creative Studios. Whether it's launching your brand new podcast, rebranding your current podcast, or taking advantage of any of their other content packages specifically for your social media needs, the HitLab is a one-stop shop for you. Visit hitlabstudio.com for more.
Again, proximity, you've been able to leverage a community that you literally, of relationships that you built all the way up through your playing career, and have been able to turn proximity and your relationships into a business that can now help and affect hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands amateur baseball players on their way up in their journey. Because again, like you just said, billions of kids are going to play and tens of thousands are going to make it up. I think Dad was telling me when I was playing, he said, Nick, I don't know where you'd rank in there, but you're at least one of the top 150 catchers in the world, because that's all there is at your level or above. And I was like, wow, that's incredible.
He's not wrong. I mean, it becomes a very unique and channeled stuff to be able to do at that level. I mean, not everybody can do it,
That's
and
right.
if you have one job, so I was told this earlier, I don't know if you ever heard it, but when you have one job, your job is every time somebody goes in, somebody else got to go home, right? There's only so many. And when you think about that way, it gives you a lot of respect for the person's job you're taking, but also how lucky you are to be there.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We talk about Wally Pipp around here all the time. All the time. Well, dude, again, so many guys, their dream is to make a living in the game of baseball. And you are living that dream, kind of like Buck Showalter did. Maybe not on the playing field as a player, but doing something else later. You know what I mean? Buck never made it to the big leagues until he was a manager, never made it as a player. And I think that's just, it's incredible. I feel like we're in our prime at the age we are right now. We're in our highest earning years. We have the biggest influence on the marketplace. We are I'm at the top of my game right now. You are too. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very exciting time to be alive in the game. I think the game is outstanding right now. With everything, the game is just contagious. You want to be involved in it. My son's 14 and he's just eat up with it. It's all we talk about together. He's going to tell, as soon as I get home, he's probably texting me right now, dude, so-and-so did X last night, did X and so on and everything else. He's dying to meet you, by the way. I got to get a FaceTime with you soon.
100%, man. 100%. That's the type of young man we need to pay this forward. Pick it up or we leave off and move the game forward for the next group behind him.
That's right.
I love hearing stories about passion like that, and making a living in this game has been. I mean, if I said it was all roses, man, I'd be lying. I mean, this has been. I don't know that I ever stopped to look around. Does that make sense? I don't know that I ever stopped to look around. What's that old thing? When you're satisfied, somebody's gaining on you.
That's right.
I don't know that I've ever stopped to do that. I just know that I wake up every single day. I get to take my dogs for a very long walk, right? I get to enjoy the weather, sunshine, and I get to go to the ballpark, get to get behind a desk, and I got my work there. But if you continue to have some impact and can evolve with the times, for anybody who's listening that wants to get into baseball, this is my advice for this. if you can evolve with the times, remember the lessons of yesterday, and find a way to contribute. Someone's going to notice.
That's right.
May not be everything you wanted. You know, Nick, you said you want to play for the Yankees. You know, I couldn't visualize myself not playing in the big leagues. When I was a kid, I just couldn't do it. It was like, yeah, you know, this way. And I think I'll say this too, and I know I speak for everybody out there who's ever played this game at this level. You think about it every day.
Yes.
You maybe don't want to go back. Maybe you're in a different spot in your life. You know, maybe it's just time for something else and you made peace with it. But there isn't a guy who played the game professionally for 5 seconds that doesn't think about playing in the game professionally every single day.
Every day.
It's just part of it, right? You miss it every day.
Every time I watch a highlight, I'm thinking, like, I could still do it. I still feel like I could get out there and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I can see my teammates. I can see stadiums you played in. I can see the ballparks, and every time I step into one of these newer stadiums I haven't been at, but I've been in all of them now. I look up. Because one of the separators for big league stadiums isn't the grass. The grass is great. Fields are immaculate. Clubhouses. It's that third deck.
That's right.
You know, when you look up and you see that third deck and you think about the pathways into the game and how fortunate you were to be part of it for whatever time you were part of it on the field, it pours passion into me to go do it again. And even not in that way. It pours passion in me to go do it again, help somebody else realize that. So for those of you that want to work in the game, evolve, remember, grow, and contribute.
That's right.
And most importantly, be a good human being when you do it.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, by the way, guys, you know, as he just said in those statistics, pretty much all of your teammates are not going to be playing at the big league level, so they're going to be in the workforce, and you got a great relationship with them. Do something. Do something. Look around the clubhouse and see, all right, what are all these guys going to do when they're done playing, and how can we work together? You know what I mean? Because they ain't going to be in the big leagues either.
You know what? There's a network that's built, though, Nick, and you know that. We all have our networks, and again, it's game's a funny thing, man. It pulls people together different than any other sport, different than football, different than baseball, different than golf. I think it's because it's so freaking hard to do.
Yeah.
This is just so hard to do. If you've ever had to see 96 as exploding on your hands, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever had to play in front of fans where they tell you quite literally that you're not very good.
That's right.
In much worse terms.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
I can still hear them.
And they love to do it. It's hard to do. So, you build that network. You try to find like-minded people. You treat people with respect. You leave it all in the field. You leave it all in the front office. You leave it all in your college team, whatever you're doing, whatever your role is. Good things will happen to you. And more importantly, even if it's out of baseball later or in other walks of life, that circle will carry with you. And if I'm most proud of anything, and I say this, regardless of what's ever happened on the field, regardless of the seemingly now at 47 years old, irrelevant high school accolades and college accolades. They were nice when they happened, but they're irrelevant now, right? It's a different part of life.
That's right.
When you look at these things, I'm the most happy and proud of the relationships that were built. That people felt that I was somebody they wanted to be around, and that people felt that they knew they were going to get the truth.
That's right.
And that people felt they knew they were going to get directness, and that I was going to be accountable. And love me or hate me, those are things they could say about it. And I'm very proud of that, and I'm thankful for that. That God and my family were able to pour those things into me, and they took hold.
No doubt. Absolutely, no doubt. And I tell people all the time, I had so many great teammates. Friends come and go, but teammates are forever. Every time I see those guys, we pick right back up as if I saw them yesterday. It's unbelievable. It is absolutely a community, a fraternity, a cult, whatever you want to call it. It's something.
Well, it's special. And I think it's because you're bonded with the amount of times you show up to work every day. I tell people you spend more time with them than you do with your own families. You spend more time not at home when you're playing than you do at home.
Absolutely.
You spend more time on the scouting side. Just so you know, I was gone 250 days a year scouting too. You're just never home. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to that, it becomes a different community. It becomes a sense of a little bit of loss when you step away, you know, because you're not doing it anymore. But it also becomes something that binds you forever and always will find you. No doubt.
No doubt. Absolutely. You know what? Coaching my son's travel team, been coaching him since he was 5 years old. And I've always, you know, when I introduce everybody to bring everybody into the show, I tell them blessings. That's how I sign every email, blessings, you know, that's my thing. But anytime I'm talking to the parents of the players on our team, I make every decision with this one little phrase, and it's usually how I sign off on any communication with them, which is just simply for the love of the game, because that's why we're all there and what we're doing. It's for the love of the game. Everything we're doing, all that we do as coaches is for the love of the game. It's to teach those kids the love of the game. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say love of the game is the most important thing. You got to teach them in. They don't like what they're doing or love what they're doing. It's over.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
The Hit Streak is powered by Team Hyder. Team Hyder has been serving you for 11 years and has racked up over 20 national and local awards for excellence in all areas. When it comes to finding the right health plan, we need to consider your family's needs and your family's budget. That's what we do to serve you. To look further and to book an appointment, visit teamhyder.com.
So let's talk about your book just a little bit. Inside the Mind of a Scout, what every parent wishes they knew about the Major League Scouting process, which, by the way, the college scouting process with the addition of some education or curriculum, which is probably even considered on the professional ranks. But let's talk about that book a little bit. It's a bestseller. Congratulations on that. And it's one that my son reads a book, and we pay him to read books and complete books, and he has to give us notes on what he read every day. So and that's one that I want him to read because, again, he wants to be a big leaguer. You know what I mean? So it's going to be very educational for him. Tell me about that book. What inspired you to write it? What's the biggest takeaways that you want everybody to get from that book?
Well, first of all, you know, I got pushed into writing this thing.
Okay.
Like I'd be lying if I said I really wanted to do it. I want to tell anybody who's listening, Nick, I had no desire to take the time to write a book, only because of the time, right? I mean, the time took me away from what I thought was happening on the field. And then the pandemic happened and the world shut down. And now I'm sitting at home staring at a screen. Mm-hmm. And so you got to find different ways to impact and grow and because you can't be outside, at least not initially. You can't be doing your events. And you know, some of the country was open. You know, your state was opened up in different phases. Texas decided that a couple months in that the pandemic didn't exist. I mean, that's just how we rolled down here.
Yeah.
You have Florida and Arizona. And then you have places like Massachusetts and California and even Oklahoma was kind of back and forth, and Louisiana. So everybody had its different way of doing things. And people really got into wanting to find information and ways to get better online because that's all they had.
Yeah.
That's what they had. So I wrote something called Scout School, and I had it transcribed through a buddy of mine who was pretty good with technology, formed some questions, and a bunch of people who had nothing else to do decided they wanted to go take this course. And it was a nice idea at the time. It was really turned into more of a training tool for us with other people, but it was something that I had the time to do now because I couldn't go anywhere else to do anything. So I kind of knocked this stuff out. Over the next year, as again, Texas opened back up, over the next year, I had to turn around and expand different courses, and I tasked some people with writing some things and editing and advising, and that was on the Scout School side, and then we just modified all that to fit this book. Book turned into a living, breathing monster. It's edited a couple times. The next thing I know, it's transcribed and published for sale.
That's awesome.
And so I had. That's funny. I just got paid from it the other day. It was great. I got some little deposit in the bank account. It was good from Amazon. Thank you very much.
That's right.
What the thing about this book, which was great, is it just took, as you said earlier, helping the person that you used to be. It was able to help families navigate what was really going on. Because, man, I got to tell you this, and I will say this as a former top-ranked player back when Baseball America and collegiate baseball and all that stuff was the only ones doing it. It doesn't mean anything. means absolutely zero. It's nice to feel that way.
Yeah.
But I don't look at a kid as an evaluator and say, you're number 1 or you're number 9 million and have any opinion whatsoever.
Right.
I want to see that for myself and understand where that's going and understand the source that I got it from is credible. And so the point of this book was to help parents and kids understand how to create value for themselves, what that value meant, how that value translated into dollars, which is a scholarship. This is obviously before NIL, so now we got NIL, right? You know, and how that meant from a professional level, because everybody does want to be a catcher for the Yankees. Mm-hmm. Everybody does want to be, you know, player for the Los Angeles Dodgers. You have to decide for yourself by self-evaluation and where you go, even what events you go to. Not every event that we do is for everybody.
Right.
It's just not the case. I shouldn't say that to you. I should say, hey, Nick, every kid you run across needs to come to a Future Star. I can't tell you that.
Right.
I can't tell you that because it's not for everybody.
That's right.
There's certain niches and you have to be able to target that. And so the bottom line with this was to be able to quiet the noise for families, connect with like-minded people like yourself who could read this and go, yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that. I did that. I understand this. Have some reinforcement there. But more importantly, take the family and the player who are wasting all this money in the wrong places and help them learn how to be a family again, help them understand how to get the best results for their kid, and let these kids be a kid. Because I think we found out as fast as maybe both of us was in a rush, or people always are at our ages and we're young kids, I want to be 18, I want to go to college, I want to go play in the big leagues. Man, you get one shot at being a kid.
That's right.
You get one shot. You got the rest of your life to be an adult. Mm-hmm. You get one shot to be a kid. And I want to see players at least channel their time, or people channel their time where they can be the best, most productive for themselves. And so the point of the book was to take all this knowledge that was really kind of held behind the curtain, if you will, and put that out front and allow them to go read it and ask questions and be better for it if it helped them.
No doubt. And that literally led it right into where I was going with this. Like, you know, the New Balance Baseball Future Star Series, folks, by the way, check it out online at futurestarsseries.com. You can keep up with Jeremy on X at _Jeremy Booth, who is, like, out of all those billions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, tens of thousands of players domestically or worldwide, who are the kids that need to be considering checking out the Future Star Series?
So I would say that our regional level, we have two different parts of that. Regional level is an open event, or rather an identification event that has to be invited. We have to have some kind of feel for who you are. Okay, you got
to qualify, baby.
Got to qualify. Now, you can recommend it. You can be seen at a partner event that we have, like Music City Classic. You can be seen at our own events. You can attend what's called an open ID, where we don't know you, and just sign up for that, which is $50, for example, and just get your basic metrics and evaluation. And if you can advance to that next round, great. If you don't, then you go home. But you have something to go with you, some kind of a feeling of where you sit.
That's awesome.
Or, you know, and if you don't want to do that, that level's for anybody. Above that, if you're a college type prospect at any level, then that regional level is where you would fit. If you're somebody who is under 13 years old, you don't need to do this. And I'll go a step further and say you don't need to be playing 100 games a year either. You need to be being a lot of different things, and that's what any sport you want to play, and that's on with your family, and that's vacationing, and that's fishing, and whatever the heck else you want to do at being 12, 11, 13, do that. Mm-hmm. When you transition to that big diamond, you need to be, if you're somebody who wants to get better, we're for you. If you're somebody who has dreams of playing in college and wants the honest feedback, we're for you. If you're somebody who's a professional prospect, we're for you. So what we find is that at 13, there's such a separation, as you well have found out, right, with your son being 14, of players either physically can't handle it or mentally decide they're done. They step out and do other things. That the right age of engagement for us is 13 transitioning to 14 and then on through high school.
Got it.
But you got to be somebody that wants to do this.
That's right.
If you're half stepping, we're not for you.
Yeah.
If you don't want to run through a wall, we're not for you.
That's right.
If you don't want to compete, Not here.
That's right.
Okay. And if you don't want to hear the truth, also not here. And so I think that if you're somebody who fits those criteria, and you're somebody who loves this game and wants to be a part of it, and you're somebody who is willing to have a fair assessment, put the work in to become the best version of you can, you have a home here.
Man, that's powerful because, like, some kids are playing other sports, which I've always encouraged my son to do. However, baseball is the only sport that he plays now. It's the only one he wants to play. He wants to spend a lot of time on that. He does a lot in music and whatnot. And I'm always just telling him, I was like, dude, life's fair. Everybody's price is just different. You're unique. Your circumstances that you're coming from are different. You got some legs up on some guys because of who your family is and whatnot, and some God-given things that were put within you when you were placed on this earth that other people don't have. And there's some things that other people have that you don't. And, but it's regardless to get there, everybody's price is just a little bit different. But, choices have to be made. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made. Sometimes you have to remove something for your life to make more room to chase that dream. You know what I mean? And I think you're right, dude. What's the average big leaguer's age this year? They're getting younger and younger and younger.
They're getting younger. It's funny. This came up yesterday because George Springer hit 10 years of service time. And the percentage of that's less than 10%. And for everybody listening to this who hasn't been played at this level, being at the big leagues, we just said 20,000 max. Imagine having to be able to stay there for a decade. Tells you how tough it is to do. I'd say 28.
Yeah.
27, 28, and there's very few players that, in my era, guys can still play in their 40s. Early 40s to get there. Verlander's obviously an outlier. Justin Verlander's 43.
The exception to the rule.
Right. I mean, but most people, by the time they're 34, 35, it's over. And that's a long career.
Physically, they're starting to decline now, right? At that point.
Yeah, and I think that the money that people command in those type of years in today's game, if you have a younger player who's going to give you similar production, people will go with the younger kid that's under control instead of the older veteran to keep him on the field.
Yeah.
It wasn't always that way. That's the way it is now. I say 27, 28 top of my head, maybe 29. And that's that prime era, so that would make more sense.
Yeah, that's right. And but it just goes to show you that it's the game is getting younger and younger and younger and younger. The younger kids are getting better. They've got access to technology and knowledge that we didn't even have. Just what the high school kids have more access to more knowledge and analytics that we had as players at top levels. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's unbelievable the stuff that we know now, and they're exposed to it at a younger age. People are making decisions on them at younger ages. However, it's not over. You can always the biggest thing for me with that knowledge is you just know where you're at right now and what you need to do. Like, you can your path forward can become extremely clear of what's needed and what has to happen. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts of what organizations like yours do is it makes the path clear. That's the hardest thing is like. Walking through a jungle where there's not a path is difficult, but man, if everything's pushed to the side, it's literally like when Moses parted the Red Sea. It was awful easy to walk across versus if it was full of water. You know what I mean? And that's what you're doing is You're clearing that path for these young men. I think it's great, man. I think it's absolutely great. What's the future holding for you guys? Anything new on the horizons? Anything you're excited about?
Yeah. So two things. So today we actually announced that the signature events and signature events for us are defined as the ones that are in Minute Maid Park, Fenway Park, Duncan Park, which is in Hartford, where you and I have some history crossing paths. And then we have Delta Dental, which is in New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. Those players selected at those events will be announced in a selection show, which is a draft of some kinds that will be held in Houston with the Houston Sports Authority here. Myself, Victor Rojas, Jim Duquette, my co-host Jason Bristol, and Daniel Gotera, who we used to work with, will all be doing the selections and we'll all be doing the presentation and the videos. And so we're going to have a draft for all these kids to be promoted across the country or whoever wants to tune in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's kind of a game changer for me. I'm pretty happy about that. That's, kids get to find out and tune in, and we'll have that. And then also, I'll put it out here first. We have done a deal with Synergy Video, which is Sports Radar. That video goes direct to all 30 major league teams and 299 Division I schools, as well as junior colleges and schools at other levels. And what that means is all of our events, including our tournaments like we had at Shelby and like we'll have at Vandy and the events that we do there, All of those events will be captured on this video.
Wow.
And so people tell you, we're going to go ahead and, this college is going to see that, and this school is going to be. I can guarantee you that with this video, if a school is opted in to receive it, they will see your son.
Wow.
They will see they will evaluate, they will have analytics, they will have metrics, they will have true gameplay, stuff that's together, swing and miss percentage and fastball strike percentage and all kinds of things that parents go, wow, but people that have done it, parents, so if you guys hear this, understand that's how you define a player. If me and Nick are talking in the pregame, we want to know when a guy hunts a fastball.
Yep.
We want to know what counts he's going to swing in. We want to know when a pitcher has to throw what, when a guy is going to run. All of those analytics, that's analytics. That stuff comes together as part of this video and is provided to every team and every college. I can't tell you how excited I am to have that because I just guaranteed every Division I school and every club is going to see your kid.
That's right. Dude. Again, you guys are kicking so much ass. It's unbelievable. Congratulations, dude. It's freaking awesome. I'm so excited. It's great for the game. It's great for the future of the game. It's great for the game on literally all levels. It gives kids something to shoot for. It gives them knowledge. It clears a path, connects them. There's a massive gap between the highest levels and the bottom levels, and you guys are bridging that gap in such a beautiful way. I think it's fantastic, man. You've got to be proud of what you guys have done so far.
Proud of the team. Proud of the team. I say that, and I'll say that again and again and again because so many people have bought into this, and whether it's my family at home, whether it's my cousin, whether it's my wife, whether it is any number of things, whether it's my parents who have supported me from a distance, whether it's my buddy who's our COO, whether it's any number of friends, family, and community in my life now or not that have helped us get here. Everybody's had a hand in believing in it. And even the bad stuff, which everybody goes through. Yep. They've had a hand in shaping this because that's made me better.
Absolutely.
And so I'm thankful for all of it. I'm thankful for the contributions that got here. I'm looking forward to the rest of today and tomorrow and the day after that, because good Lord willing, I get to wake up and go to the ballpark and get paid to do it. And I can't think of another better way to spend my time.
That's right. Well, Jeremy, is there any final thoughts for our audience out there today on everything you guys got going on, your past, your present, and your future? Any final thoughts you want to leave everybody with today?
Yeah, I just one thing that has occurred to me while we've been talking. Everybody sees, I think, glitz and glamour. We talked a lot. There's a person named Steve Mackey who I've listened to quite a bit, who I've had in our events. Mac says overnight success. It's one of the things he said to me when he talks about when he speaks. And then, Nick, I know you speak, and I've spoken, and Steve speaks. And the thing about what Steve Mackey says, overnight success, he says all everybody sees is the finished product. They don't see the nights fighting. They don't see moving money around. They don't see having to create a business. They don't see how you can get yourself there. They don't see the work. My answer to that is good.
Come on.
Because train in private, perform in public. Train in private, perform in public. And if it's easy, you don't want it. If it's given to you, question it. If you got to earn it, you got to fight for it. You got to do whatever you got to do. Sleeping on floors of clubhouses, Nick.
Yep, did it.
Right? Air mattresses.
Yep.
Go nights figuring out where it's going to come from, what's going to happen. And you got to learn how to live in faith, even when it's tough, especially when it's tough. And you got to learn how to live in difficulty. When you get to the other side, not because somebody said something, not because somebody made you uncomfortable, but when real hard times show up, when you're trying to make something of yourself, you can push through it, you can challenge yourself, you can achieve. And people won't even recognize you on the other side, and that's a positive.
Couldn't have said it any better, man.
The Hitstreak is powered by Rack Financial. When it comes to your credit card merchant processing, Rack Financial is efficient, reliable, and trusted. At the end of the day, when it comes to processing your credit card payments, they make it simple, the way it's supposed to be. Check out Rack Financial.
Folks, we're hanging out with Jeremy Booth, founder and CEO of Program 15, president of baseball operations for the New Balance Baseball Future Star Series, best-selling author, and baseball analyst for CBS Houston. Jeremy, dude, it's been an honor and a privilege to have you on today, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Nick, right back at you, man. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today and to revisit with you and to connect. And your entire team treated me exceptionally well in this process. Look forward to seeing you this summer in Nashville.
That's right.
And seeing the whole family and getting back to Shelby and all the great things that come with it. And thank you very much for having me.
No doubt, man. Folks, remember, check them out on futurestarsseries.com as well as on X. You can keep up with Jeremy at _Jeremy Booth. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Hit Streak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.